The Book of Ethera. Chapter 1. The story begins. The storm raged furiously over Shinjuku, the night draped in shadows thick as ink. Winds howled like restless spirits, rattling the shutters of the houses that stood resolute in their indifference to the chaos outside. In this corner of Tokyo, where souls were content to live their lives as if oblivious to the lurking dangers beyond the grasp of their mundane existence, a different tale was brewing. A tale that would be etched in the annals of history. "My name is Ikaru," I whispered to the storm, though no one could hear me except the darkness that enveloped my thoughts. The name itself carried weight, a legacy hidden in its meaning. First son, as the eldest of the Kawano clan, my fate loomed large like the gathering clouds overhead. A master in kendo and martial arts, I had learned to wield a blade like a whisper in the wind, each swing a promise to uphold my family's duty to protect our realm. On my 10th birthday, my parents summoned me to the flickering candlelight of our ancestral home and unveiled my destiny. "You are to become a demon and spirit slayer," my father had said, his voice unwavering yet heavy with expectation. "You must learn to harness the powers that dwell in the shadows, to protect those who cannot protect themselves." Though I understood the gravity of my role, the truth of it was laden with horrors I had only begun to comprehend. Spirits, both wrathful and sorrowful, whispered of chaos in the night. Some could possess the living, manipulating them as pawns in a grand game of destruction, a curse known as spirit takeover. The kitsune, they called it, a name that resonated with dread and reverence, for the fox was no mere animal. It was a demon shrouded in ancient lore, a creature of cunning with the power to deceive and terrify. My family, steeped in tradition and responsibility, was part of a lineage tasked with maintaining the fragile balance between the supernatural and the mortal. With me, they had entrusted their hopes, their fears. I had 2 older sisters and a younger one, yet our lives were rarely intertwined in the tapestry of daily existence. My youngest sibling, just a bright-eyed 3 years old, remained blissfully unaware of the dangers that crept through the night. My older sisters had distanced themselves, lost their own paths. The legends spoke of myriad beings that were summoned and bound by those who understood the old ways. Wheels of fate spun around the Shikigami, spirits bound to serve an Onmyoji, a sorcerer steeped in duty and magic. These spirit servants were no mere playthings. They were guardians, expected to protect their masters from the encroaching darkness. Yet a single rule reigned supreme. They were never to harm a human. It was a sacred bond, forged in honor, one that could not be broken without consequence. As I matured into my role, the weight on my shoulders grew heavier. Whispers of a greater threat coiled around me like a suffocating fog. There were rumors of a coalition of malevolent forces, a shadowy cabal plotting to lay waste to the world I held dear. And I, as the firstborn son, found myself at the helm of this looming struggle, desperate to shield my friends, my family, and all of humanity from the coming storm. Our clan would stand together, united with the Fujimoto, Ojima, and Kojima families, noble houses entrusted with safeguarding the realms from malevolence. We were designated defenders, protectors endowed with destinies intertwined by honor and duty. My father, the Shujin of our household, master, head of the family, often spoke of our forefathers, their sacrifices etched into the very bones of our legacy. Yet, as thunder cracked and lightning illuminated the night sky, I felt the stirrings of courage within me. I had vowed to honor my family's name, to fight against the darkness. The time for youth was waning. My journey was about to begin. With resolve, I kept my gaze fixed on the horizon, where shadows gathered and destinies collided, knowing that the tale of Ikaru had yet to unfold. The shrine stood silent at the back of Ikaru's family home, its wooden structure almost blending into the ancient trees that surrounded it. A sacred space dedicated to Oyamaku no Kami, the god of mountains and protector of paths, it held the weight of both tradition and expectation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the ground, Ikaru felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was the protector of the shrine, a title passed down through generations, a role marked by the promise that if any harm befell the shrine, punishment awaited. Inside, the air was thick with incense, and the flickering candlelight danced upon the walls, illuminating the treasures held within. Among these was a single national treasure, the legendary sword, its blade forged in a time of myth and war. The shrine boasted a collection of 14 important cultural assets, 13 swords, and a naginata, each a testament to the family's honor and the god's ever-watchful gaze. Today was significant. Today, his grandfather, Sofu, was to impart the knowledge of summoning a benevolent spirit, a guardian to guide Ikaru when the shadows of uncertainty loomed large. "Speak these words," Sofu instructed, his voice steady and grave. The words flowed in a rhythmic cadence, an incantation steeped in belief and hope. "Spirit, I summon you to my dream and my life. Show me my path and my outcome. I welcome you in hopes for help. I cry out to you. Tell me about my future and help me through it. Spirit of good, I summon you to follow and lead me. Night and day be by me and show me the way." So, mode it is. 3 times, Ikaru recited the invocation before blowing out the candles, surrendering to the quiet of the night that cloaked him. But as darkness wrapped around him, a strange weight in his chest foreshadowed an unquiet slumber. His dreams twisted into a horrifying tableau, a dark creature, backlit by the pale glow of a haunting light, stared at him with unblinking eyes. It left him breathless, drenched in sweat, and filled with fear that pierced through the veil of dreams to thrust him abruptly awake. Was that a warning? He wondered, heart racing as confusion clouded his thoughts. In that moment, the shadows deepened in the corners of his room, where a creature emerged, its presence suddenly tangible. Its fur shimmered white and blue, black stripes darting down its back, sharp-ended tail flicking with an air of confidence. "I am Bayako," it announced, a voice resonant and sure. "Guardian of the West. I am here because you called upon me." Ikaru blinked at the creature, a mix of awe and mischief igniting in his chest. "You're my spirit animal? But you're small. I thought guardians were supposed to be mighty." But I am not yet fully formed," Bayako replied, its eyes twinkling with promise. "I shall grow as you grow, granting me power as you train. Together, we will face battles and guide your destiny." Just then, a swift voice broke through the moment. "Kanakami, elder brother. Father wants you in the dojo. It's urgent." Izumi, his younger sister, stood at his door, her urgency palpable. "He said to bring your spirit with you." "I'll be there," Ikaru called out, glancing back to Bayako. "Are you ready? I've decided to call you Haiku. Together, we are one."
With a nod of determination, they descended the stairs, Ikaru's heart beating in tandem with his new companion. As they approached the dojo, the sliding doors loomed ahead, a threshold not just to a room, but to a lineage pulsing with stories, struggles, and the weight of choices made long ago. The doors opened, revealing his father kneeling there, the weight of family legacy resting heavy on his shoulders. "Ikaru," he began, his voice solemn. "You have finally summoned your spirit companion, Bayako, the great spirit of the West. He is meant to guide and protect you, just as we have sought to protect this family and the shrine. Our line has faced peril, and it is your duty to uphold our honor." Father Tatsuki's presence, like the shrine itself, was both grounding and formidable. He had been a slayer, destined to confront darkness, but he had chosen love over legacy, a choice that shaped their family's fate. The air was thick with history, and Ikaru felt that weight pressing inward, igniting a flame within him. To surpass his father, to protect his family and fulfill the prophecies tied to the shrine, it was upon him now, the heir bearing the legacy of both slayer and shrine keeper. "Are you prepared for what lies ahead?" Tatsuki asked, a glint of expectation in his eyes. Ikaru straightened, feeling Haiku pulse with warmth beside him. "More than ever, father. Together, we will rise to meet the challenges that await us." With a deep breath, Ikaru steeled himself for the path before him, the shrine and all its power resting in the legacy he was destined to protect. The weight of destiny pressed heavily upon Icarus' shoulders as he stood at the threshold of change. His father, a silhouette of rugged determination against the dim light of their modest home, spoke with a gravity that resonated deep within him. "Son, you do know that you must train your body day and night so that you may be the strongest of all in this family. It is imperative that you learn more spells to avoid bringing shame upon us," he urged, his deep voice tinged with the unwavering pride of a lineage steeped in sacrifice and power. The elder man meticulously packed Icarus' belongings, each item imbued with years of ancestral legacy. 3 ancient scriptures, tattered yet sacred, found their way into his satchel, whispering promises of wisdom and strength. The scriptures had been handed down through generations, each inked character a fragment of their family's storied past, and now they would guide him on this pivotal journey. "We are about to embark on a new chapter, my son. Our destination lies far to the east, near Fukushima," the father continued, a flicker of anticipation brightening his stern features. "There, you will join the trade-off school, where young sorcerers and slayers hone their craft. It is a place of trials and triumphs, a crucible for the fierce and the unyielding." Icarus felt the weight of the words settle in his heart. He was no longer merely a boy. He was a bearer of legacy, a warrior in the making. With his spirit animal, a wisp of ethereal energy that danced upon his shoulder, he felt emboldened. "Are you ready to get going to our next place of travel, Haiku?" he inquired, the mix of excitement and apprehension evident in his voice. They had a journey ahead, one that would span 185.12 miles and test the limits of his endurance. Before they set forth, a thought struck him like a bolt. "Dad, where is Mom? I wish to say goodbye before wandering off on this journey of mine." The query hung in the air, a reminder of the warmth of home that awaited him. With a heavy sigh, his father replied, "Your mother is in the Data Koro, preparing a meal for your adventure. She wishes you well and has packed a lunch worth remembering." The elder man's eyes softened momentarily, revealing the depth of a father's love layered beneath rigid expectation. "Stay safe, Icarus. Remain vigilant, for spirits have been known to lurk in dark spaces. You will encounter many, some friend, some foe, but the shapeshifters are the most treacherous. They can turn into anything, and beware of the Bakaniko. They are fierce and unpredictable." A shiver passed through Icarus at the mention of these creatures, but determination surged in its wake. Today marked the beginning of an odyssey where every spell and every lesson would fortify him against the shadows that haunted not just the realms of men, but also the very fabric of his family's honor. With a final glance back at his father, he steeled himself, melded courage with resolve, and took his first step toward the unknown, the road to Fukushima stretching out before him like the promise of tomorrow's dawn. The air was thick with uncertainty as Icarus gazed up at his father, the weight of the unknown settling heavy on his young shoulders. "Bakaniko. What are those, father?" The question lingered, hesitating between them like the shifting shadows cast by the flickering lantern light. "Bakaniko are a type of yokai," his father replied, his voice steady yet imbued with a caution born from years of experience. They trace their origins to the Sasakibara family, who spoke of these creatures dancing under the moonlight, a napkin atop their heads. It is said that there exists a variant with 2 tails, an embodiment of untold strength. However, only the single-tailed version reveals itself to mortals. We have no definitive proof of the 2-tailed one's existence. It is crucial, my son, that you remain vigilant on your journey. Evil has a way of slipping through the cracks of our world. As if to accentuate the gravity of his words, the father reached into his robe, drawing forth a square box that gleamed with promise. "Take this," he said, placing it gently into Icarus' hands. Curiosity gnawed at Icarus as he opened the box, revealing a stunning sterling silver dragon pendant embedded with a shimmering peridotite. The intricate design captivated him. The central facet resembled a dragon's eye, swirling with hues of green and blue reminiscent of a lush meadow at sunrise. Tendrils of silver curled around it like branches of some ancient tree, breathing life into the intricate craftsmanship. As Icarus lifted the pendant from its confines, a surge of energy flowed through him, as if the pendant had awakened and was now communicating its destiny. In an instant, the ethereal glow that illuminated the room shifted into visions, fleeting glimpses of battles yet to unfold. A massive dragon, swathed in blue and white flames, loomed in his mind, casting dread with its sheer presence. "Father, what was that?" Ikaru's voice trembled as he turned to his father, amazed and bewildered. He sank onto the tatami mat, his knees instinctively drawing close, seeking reassurance. His father's expression turned grave, and he knelt beside his son, his eyes locking onto Ikaru's with an intensity that spoke volumes. "What you witnessed is indicative of our world's future, Ikaru. That dragon, Igra, is a spirit and, without your prompt mastery of your powers, could lay waste to our realm. Within this pendant lies a fragment of that power, waiting for you to unlock it. When the time comes, you must summon Igra and find the strength within your own heart. But first, you must embark on a journey to your grandfather's home in Nezukara Suyama. He has much to teach you and may impart a gift of his own." The significance of his father's words hung in the air, a tapestry woven with threads of fate that awaited unraveling. Excitement mingled with apprehension as Ikaru nodded in silent agreement. Together, they gathered the remaining provisions, each item placed carefully into their bags, now heavy with the weight of expectation. "Ikaru-san, from now on, we will be partners and look after one another, no matter what happens, right?" Haiku chirped, perched firmly upon Ikaru's shoulder, a nagging comfort among the uncertainty. "Of course," Ikaru replied, though his mind raced with thoughts of the spells he must learn from the ancient books and the talismans waiting to be deciphered. "I need to understand how to protect us from the spirits threatening to breach our world. My father only taught me to summon Shikigami in times of dire need." As they stepped outside, the world unfurled before them like an uncharted map, lush with promise but fraught with peril. Yet, just as they made their way along the winding path, an unsettling presence hung in the air, coiling around them like an ominous fog. Both Ikaru and Haiku halted, sensing an approach, an energy pulsating as it drew nearer. "Do you feel that strange power?" Haiku murmured, his voice low and tinged with concern. "It feels like something formidable is closing in on us." As he spoke, Ikaru noticed the strange transformation. The black stripes on Haiku's back morphed, elongating into sharp steel-like fins, jutting out protectively. The air thickened into a blue mist that circled around him, forming a barrier against whatever might assault them from the shadows. Together, they stood on the precipice of uncertainty, gripped by the knowledge that their adventure had only just begun. In that moment, Ikaru understood that his destiny was entwined not only with ancient spirits and dragons but with the choices he would make and the bonds he would forge along the way. And whatever lay ahead, dark forces or new alliances, he would face them, for no journey is ever truly undertaken alone. A strange creature walked towards them, its form shifting as it drew closer, the clouds swirling ominously in its wake. "Where are you going, human?" The words reverberated through the air, a haunting echo that sent shivers down Ikaru's spine. He felt his pulse quicken. This voice resembled that of a yokai, the supernatural entities of his father's tales, the very beings woven into the fabric of legends. His mind raced, recalling the kanji: bewitching, attractive, calamity and apparition, mystery, suspicious. Haiku, peering at the creature with wide eyes, broke the heavy silence. "Look at that! What the hell type of animal is that thing anyway, Ikaru-san?" The tiger at his side, encircled by spinning blue flames, seemed equally bewildered by the sight before them. Ikaru's breath caught in his throat. His gaze fixed on the apparition, a Bakaniko, but unlike any he had ever heard of. This one was vibrant orange, adorned with 9 flickering tails that flared with a fierce light, like a manifestation of hellfire birthed from the depths of darkness. He could sense its insatiable hunger, an appetite for human flesh, a thought that sent a chill down his spine. "Ikaru! Don't look at that demon. If you do, it will put your soul right out of your body, into thin air." Haruna, the eldest son of the Fujimoto line, shouted vehemently, his eyes wide with urgency. Instinctively, Ikaru closed his eyes, the terror seeping into his very being. Haruna shouted, "Go for it! Surayu! It's time to drive you, foul demon beast! Evil that which forms below, no longer will you dwell, death takes you with this spell. Demon! Beast! Begone! Go for it, Surayu!" Use flames of the holy fire. With a fervor fueled by desperation, Haiku released his smoke screen barrier, allowing their intentions to seep into the very air around them. Right, boss. Flames of the holy fire. Surayu roared as he unleashed a torrent of blue flames, bright and unrelenting, surging towards the yokai. But just as swiftly as it had appeared, the creature fled, evading the searing fire before it could make contact. Demon Circle Hold. Haruna commanded, revealing a technique meant to bind their foe. That attack ensures the demon cannot escape us. He approached Ikaru, who was still trembling in disbelief, and extended a hand to help him up. A smile broke through Haruna's earlier tension. I can see that you're on a journey to the same destination I am, the school past the mountains. If you'll allow us to accompany you, we can navigate this treacherous path together. I hear you're off to visit your grandfather, let us aid you in your quest. Both boys bowed in mutual respect, an unspoken bond beginning to weave itself between them. I have no problem with you joining us, Ikaru replied, relief washing over him. Thank you for saving me from that demon. If you hadn't shown up, we would have been, his voice trailed off, the weight of his near-fatal encounter settling heavily upon him. No problem. But don't be fooled, that demon isn't gone. It fled, yes, but only because it sensed the threat we posed. Haruna's tone shifted, a flicker of concern crossing his face as he scanned their surroundings for any lingering danger. Just as they were about to move forward, a small, spirit-like creature fluttered down and landed on Haruna's shoulder. It resembled a dragon, vibrant and lively, its voice loud yet oddly charming. Hello. I am Azure, the blue dragon. You may also know me as the Dragon of the East. I'm one of the 4 guardians, just like your friend over there. Azure beamed with enthusiasm. When you humans summoned us to this world, you copied our digital makeup and brought us to life to stand by your side. However, heed my warning, we are never allowed to attack humans. If we do, dreadful consequences will befall us. A mischievous smirk danced upon his lips. Glancing at Azure's tail, Ikaru noticed the resemblance to Haiku's, both bore a spike that gleamed menacingly. Yet beneath the surface excitement bubbled an undercurrent of despair, one that he couldn't grasp fully. He recalled the box with the dragon-shaped eye, the sensation of something vital just out of reach. As the group began to walk towards their uncertain future, he wondered if he had indeed forgotten something important, something that could alter the course of their journey. The shadows of untold mysteries loomed larger with each step. Under a cloak of twilight, the stars twinkled above, their distant light a solace to Ikaru and his companions. As they gathered their thoughts after a long day's journey, Haruna turned to Ikaru. How about we camp out here for the night? We have a long way to go to reach your grandfather's and the school. Ikaru nodded slowly, fatigue weighing on his shoulders like a mantle. Okay, he replied, I am kind of tired anyway. We could all use a break. He paused, then added, oh, I almost forgot. Do you know how to set up a tent? Because I have no clue how to set one up at all. A look of disbelief crossed Haruna's face. You're born into a lineage of legendary warriors, yet you can't set up a tent? I always thought one of your trainings was supposed to prepare you for survival in the wild, alone and unassisted.
A hint of embarrassment colored Ikaru's cheeks. Well, I wasn't really focused when my father was teaching me, he admitted, looking down at his hands. I was preoccupied with mastering one technique at a time. The only thing that truly mattered to me back then was fighting spirits, winning battles, not disgracing my family's name or honor. At this, Haruna pushed Ikaru gently, his fists clenched in passion. Listen, Ikaru. If you're so consumed by the weight of honor, you need to remember who you are fighting for. We must protect this entire country. The lives of countless people are intertwined with our own. We, as children, bear the responsibility of safeguarding humanity. Before you speak of honor, consider the burdens on our backs and the lives we are sworn to protect. As the air settled into a solemn silence, both boys turned their gazes skyward. Haruna assembled the tent with nimble fingers, while Ikaru reclined on the grass, his mind swirling with thoughts of purpose. He pondered why the gods had mandated such a heavy task for the youth, Why had they foretold that children would rise to combat the imminent darkness? An unsettling sense of dread gnawed at his insides. If anything were to happen to his family, a wave of fury would unleash, annihilating anything that threatened his kin. With a resigned sigh, Ikaru decided sleep was his best ally for now. He would strategize in the morning, prepare for the inevitable struggles to come. Yawning, he succumbed to the weight of fatigue. The world around him blurred and faded as he surrendered to the embrace of slumber. Under the canopy of stars, the trio found peace in their separate beds, drifting into dreams. Yet Ikaru's mind began to twist into restless visions. He floated weightlessly in an unfamiliar realm, gazing down at a creature that held his attention captive, a magnificent red dragon. Its features bore an uncanny blend of fearsome beauty, with wings that spread wide like a tempest, adorned with silver horns reminiscent of a great bull. Its form was both colossal and nimble, merging the grace of a dragon with the savagery of something far more primal. Ikaru longed to speak to this ethereal being, but its voice echoed with urgency. Do not open the gates. Keep them closed. If they open, catastrophe ensues, demons and spirits shall ravage this world. Fear coiled within him as he awoke abruptly. The transition from dream to reality left him breathless, an ominous weight resting on his chest. He could not shake the feeling that his path as a demon slayer had grown infinitely darker and more perilous. The dawn of a new day came, illuminating the world with a cautious sun. Rising early, Ikaru gathered his companions, and they prepared to resume their journey. The air shimmered like embers in the sky, masking the tension simmering beneath the surface. As they made their way to Kanda, one of the smaller cities nestled in Fukuoka, an unsettling quiet pervaded the surroundings. The streets lay barren, houses cloaked in a silence that carried an unsettling truth. Fear reigned in this desolate place. Hey, Ikaru, Haiku whispered, drawing Ikaru's attention back to the present. Do you feel that power source? It's strange, like something sinister lurks nearby. A prickle of apprehension danced up Ikaru's spine as he surveyed their surroundings. It feels like a demon, he thought, recognizing the connection between their uneasy sensations and the ominous landscape. Before Ikaru could respond, the ground beneath their feet trembled violently. Cries of terror pierced the oppressive stillness, followed by the charge of a monstrous beast, a gigantic mammoth, its enormous tusks stained with the remnants of violence. Its grotesque form moved through the undergrowth, dripping with the remnants of suffering. Reahaha. The beast's roar split the air, shaking the remnants of security within Ikaru's heart. We must destroy it. Haruna exclaimed, urgency surging through his words. This may be the demon we sensed. There are demons that can manipulate creatures to serve their dark purposes. Collectively, they steeled themselves for the inevitable confrontation, their bond of courage solidifying as the weight of destiny pressed upon them. The time for action had come, and they would face their fears together, for the fates of countless innocents rested on their shoulders. The air crackled with energy as Haiku and Azure began to power up, a spectacle of light and sound resonating through the desolate remnants of the village. Spikes erupted from Haiku's back, each one glowing fiercely as if charged by the very essence of a storm. A thick, swirling smoke screen enveloped them, and the blue haze expanded, morphing into jagged bolts that split the darkness. Rhea. The beast before them roared, shaking the earth beneath their feet. In the face of the looming threat, Haruna's voice cut through the chaos. It's attacking. Azure, use the dragon of the holy flames. His words came heavy with urgency as he brandished his pendant, fingers poised in a ritualistic manner on his forehead. Closing his eyes, he drew upon the deep currents of energy that flowed within him. Dragon of fire. Rise with full power, I ask of thee. His heart raced as he envisioned flames spiraling to life, unfurling into the magnificent silhouette of a dragon. A sudden shift in the battle's tide brought Azure into play. Dragon raises flame of despair, he shouted as he conjured flames that encircled him like a living entity. But as the fiery dragon roared to life, it rushed at the enormous beast with a speed that left little room for doubt. Yet, against the fierce momentum of the attack, the creature stood defiant. With a swift flick of its mighty leg, Azure was sent crashing into the wall behind him, the impact echoing through the forsaken streets. Azure. You, okay? Haruna screamed, panic lacing his voice as he turned to Ikaru, his question unvoiced but clear, would Ikaru join the fight or leave him to fend for himself? Ikaru, determination flashing in his eyes, pulled out his own pendant. Kodadama, he declared, closing his eyes in a moment of silent plea. By the power of the almighty gods and goddesses, I ask upon you to lend me your power. Allow me to do as I see thunder strike before me. So, mote it be. The command reverberated with fervor, and soon, Haiku was awash in arcs of electricity, unleashing a primal roar that shook the remnants of the village.
Use lightning savior blast. Ikaru commanded, crossing his arms firmly over his chest, only to watch in horror as the gigantic mammoth shrugged off the full force of their combined attack, charging back with a catastrophic revenge. Its powerful flames, known as darkness flames, arced toward Haiku and struck true, sending the creature reeling. Haiku. You, okay? Ikaru shouted, rushing toward his companion. Fear gripped him as he knelt beside Haiku, who lay wounded, and desperation set the stage for their next move. What can we do now? Our powers barely made a dent, and it looks like he's about to attack us again. But hope arrived in the form of a booming voice from above. Hey, don't worry, you too. We will help. A figure leaped down from the roof of a crumbling building, a boy with an aura as fierce as the fire he commanded. Landing gracefully amidst the debris, he introduced himself. I'm Reika, one of the first sons, he declared, a small black tortoise perched confidently on his shoulder. Ready, Tortai? Embolism power soars. I call upon the powerful three. The power to freeze, heat, and shape is what I feel to have. With that, Reika held his pendant high. Go, element freeze. He unleashed Torti's power, and as the tortoise summoned water from the ether, icicles formed and shot forth. The ground beneath them began to glisten, freezing into a massive circle that surrounded the colossal mammoth. Don't you see? Reika explained with urgency. The tortoise is the protector of the north, and his shell is as hard as diamonds. If we work together, we can defeat this monster. He took out a talisman inscribed with a delicate kanji, a symbol of summoning etched onto its surface. Okay, let's do it. Haruna said, his voice steady despite the chaos. Both boys retrieved their pendants, and as they began to chant, their voices harmonized in a spell that echoed through the ruins. Merlin Fireball Attack. The collective energy ignited, coalescing into one scorching sphere of flame that soared toward the mammoth. The impact was fierce, causing the creature to stagger backward as spikes erupted from Torti's shell, spinning like blades through the air, striking the beast with savage precision. Now. Spell cast. Eliminate this spirit spell cast now, they shouted in unison. The spell fused in a dazzling explosion of light, encircling the mammoth and preventing its escape. Tension rose as Haruna summoned yet another spell. A new spell, I invoke you, Dragon of Ice. Protect our friend from this hurting foe. Use all your might to destroy them quickly. His voice rang clear, and from it came the ice dragon, manifesting as a sharp blade poised to strike. The clash of magic and might reached a fever pitch as the mammoth roared in fury, defiant and thrumming with power. Yet, as uncertainty loomed amidst their struggle, Kazu's pendant began to radiate a vibrant light. A voice emerged from the fiery aura, resonant and reassuring. Don't worry. The Guardian of Flame is finally here to help you fight if you need my aid. As the battlefield stood shrouded in tension and the remnants of their battle echoed within the ruins, hope flickered anew, igniting a resolve to restore peace against the encroaching darkness. The sun hung low in the dusky sky, casting long shadows over the ancient battlefield where the remnants of hope clashed with the encroaching darkness. Zusaku stood firm, his figure cloaked in the garments of a guardian, each thread woven from the light of his holy flames. He could feel the fire within him, a joyous melody that resonated with the pure hearts he had sworn to protect. The very air around him crackled with the intensity of his resolve, each flicker of flame marking his unwavering commitment to justice. To the south, the horizon trembled as the demon's voice pierced the air, imbued with malice and disdain. It doesn't matter what type of power you try to use or pull against me. If you try, You will not win. I will kill both kid and grandfather at once. His words dripped with venom, each syllable born from a heart consumed by rage and fury. The demon's presence loomed large, a grotesque shadow that threatened to swallow the light, and Zusaku could see its grotesque visage twisting in the dying glow of dusk. The guardianship of the South was not merely a title for Zusaku, it was his essence, a mantle he bore with unwavering pride. It was a mantle that had cost him dearly, leaving him as the last bastion against a tide of darkness that sought to engulf the world. As he stared into the heart of the evil before him, thoughts of the innocent filled his mind, the wide-eyed children and their wise guardians, reminders of all he had fought for. No matter the threats, he would not let despair seep into his heart. Your threats mean nothing here, Zusaku asserted, his voice a calm but resonant force, cutting through the demon's rage like a blade of light. You may believe yourself invincible in your wrath, yet it is the purity of the soul that holds true power. The flames I wield are not simply weapons, they are a beacon of hope for those who seek to do good. With a sweep of his arm, the flames surged to life, dancing with an ethereal glow that illuminated the darkening surroundings. As the demon snarled in frustration, Zusaku felt the growing warmth within him, a flicker of every kind deed ever performed, every ounce of courage shown, every heart that had battled against the shadows. Your darkness can never extinguish the light of those who fight for what is right. I will protect them, and I will protect them at all costs. With resolve blossoming like the dawn, Zusaku stepped forward, the flames gathering at his fingertips, ready to blaze a path through the impending shadows. In this climax of fate, the guardian of the South prepared to confront the darkness, driven by the very essence of goodness, knowing that even in the face of overwhelming malevolence, the heart of the pure would always find a way to shine through. Kazu's heart raced as he stood before the looming figure of the demon, its malevolent form seething with dark energy. His breath caught in his throat, fear painted his features in stark colors, a mix of desperation and dread. Yet, in the swirling chaos of his mind, a seed of clarity emerged, a chant his father had taught him, whispered in the quiet of night, laden with weighty significance. One day, this will come in handy, his father had said, eyes grave yet hopeful. If you ever need this power, use it wisely. With trembling hands, Kazu grasped his amulet, its cold surface a stark contrast to the heat radiating from the demon's fiery presence. He closed his eyes, immersing himself in the memory of his father's teachings. The chant echoed in his mind, a lifeline thrown amidst the storm of impending doom. La, ki un na berda. Lu yuen na breezinger. Mor ki na la omios. Yuen tail na varia freer. Biarzires. As the final syllable escaped his lips, the amulet surged to life in his grip, glowing a fierce red that pulsed with energy. It was as if the very essence of flame awakened within him, igniting an ancient power. Zusaku, his companion, felt the energy shift as well. The flames around him danced more fervently, a wild, unbound force. With an ear-piercing roar, he unleashed ancient blazing flames. The radiant fire enveloped the demon, searing its malicious flesh and prompting a shriek that echoed through the air, a sound that chilled Kazu to his core. That does it. I had told you what I was going to do to the child and his grandfather. So prepare to die now. The demon howled, its voice a rumbling storm, filled with venomous rage. As it bellowed, it drew in a vicious breath, unleashing a storm of air that slammed into Kazu and his allies, throwing them in every direction like leaves caught in a tempest. Amidst the disarray, Reika's voice pierced through the clamor, unwavering and urgent. Now, Tortai. It's our turn to help. The call snapped Kazu back to reality as he watched Reika and his partner crash against a wall, the force of their impact echoing like a distant thunderclap. The amulet that had sustained Kazu now glimmered with the promise of protection. Reika focused, his fingers coming together in a deliberate gesture. I have cast this chant now, earth, roll in salt or rub with the coal. His voice resonated with the gravity of the incantation, invoking the strength of the ground beneath them. Visualize the energy of earth being absorbed by the object. Now visualize the energy surrounding it, 3 equal portions this time, 1 for fire, 1 for water, and 1 for earth, he instructed, his determination unwavering. "Now, Tortai, protect us, Shell Protector." As the words fell from his lips, the air thickened with power. The elements themselves seemed to respond to his chant. Kazu watched with bated breath as a shimmering shield began to envelop them, a protective barrier born from the very essence of the earth, a fusion of elemental forces woven together in a desperate bid for survival. The battle was far from over, but within that moment of unity, hope flickered, a flame daring to ignite amidst the darkness. Tortai propelled himself forward, a vivid flash of determination shining in his eyes as he interposed his small frame between Reika and the encroaching darkness. "Shell Protector," he declared, and in that instant, the air thickened with awe. The sharp-edged ridges of his shell unfurled like the jagged peaks of a mountain range, each glimmering facet revealing the depth of the power harnessed within. It was a force greater than any of them had ever witnessed, pulsating with an ancient strength that both intimidated and inspired. The weight of legends whispered through the hearts of the assembled. Turtles, they had been told, were ancient beings, longevity etched into their very essence. Their shells, fortified through eons, were said to guard against all forms of destruction. No weapon forged by human hands could pierce such a defense. It was a promise of resilience in the face of encroaching chaos. As the demon's voice echoed through the clearing, a malevolent sneer twisted its features, a grotesque caricature of arrogance. "I am a demon that takes over the human mind and soul," it rasped, each word dripping with disdain. "When I am done, I will consume their bodies and keep their hearts as trophies of my victory. Do you think, little child, that you can defeat me? You are mere novices, barely cohabiting with your fledgling spirits, while mine have thrived in the darkness, unshackled by tender ties." The shadows twisted behind it, an audience of terrors ready to aid their master. As the echoes of battle reverberated through the air, Ikaru stood resolute, his heart racing with purpose. "One thing is certain," the yokai declared, his voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. "We will not be deterred from our task. We seek to open a path to the underworld, a dark passage where all will vanish, your children included. Your spirits, however steadfast, cannot shield you forever." His gaze, fierce and unwavering, locked onto the spectral forms surrounding them. "We will not permit you or your kind to obliterate our realm. We are the guardians against the abyss, and we will stem the tide of demons intent on breaching our world." Hope hung by a thread, a fragile wisp in the face of despair, as the malevolent demon loomed. It was a creature of nightmares, one of the feared level 6 demons. This was no ordinary enemy. It possessed the potential to commandeer the very minds and souls of the living, a true embodiment of darkness, seeking to envelop the light in its wicked grasp. Haruna, surveying the dim shadows that writhed around them, steeled himself. "We must draw the demon from its host," he urged, urgency punctuating his words. "Only then can we confront the true Yoki beast that lurks within." With determination, he invoked an ancient chant taught to him by his great-grandfather, hoping it would prove effective. The words flowed like a river, steady and intent, as he called upon the guardians of the spirit realm. "Guardians of the spirit realm, hear and guide my plea. When the witching hour rings true, bring my friend to me. Other souls who hear my call are not welcome in this place, only the one known as may enter sacred space." As the final syllables faded into the ether, the atmosphere shifted. A shadow began to swell behind the elder, a dark mass writhing with palpable anguish. What followed was a spectacle of horror and power, as a more potent demon emerged from within the old man's body, its form contorted in a struggle for release. The old man collapsed, unconscious and spent, leaving Kazu and his spirit companion, Zasaku, racing to his side, concern etched upon their faces. Before them now stood the demon in its true form, a colossus that dwarfed them all, a creature resembling a titanic boar. Its hide, a tumult of brown fur matted with blood that dripped ominously to the ground, proclaimed the ferocity of its existence. It towered like a grotesque monument, a vainglorious display of its twisted strength, with the absence of its once mighty horns reminiscent of a gladiator fallen from grace. Its small tail, adorned with a bushy tuft, flicked restlessly as if impatient for battle. The stench of brimstone filled the air as the full weight of their reality pressed upon them. Together, they stood at the precipice of a confrontation that would determine the fate of their world, a clash against the darkness personified, and within them stirred a potent blend of fear and resolve. The battle for peace had begun, and the outcome lay shrouded in uncertainty, clouded by the encroaching shadows of despair and the flickering flame of hope. I am one of the unknown demons that will be taking all your lives at once and destroying everything that is in my path. The chilling proclamation echoed through the cavernous chamber, lingering like a foul stench in the air. The demon loomed before us, a grotesque figure carved from shadow and malice, its eyes glowing with a feral hunger that sent tremors through our ranks. We, mere trainees with trembling hands and hearts coursing with uncertainty, knew that this was no ordinary foe. This was a level 6 demon, one that could obliterate us with a mere flick of its wrist. Just as despair threatened to envelop us, a shiver of movement caught my gaze. From the shadows emerged a young man, almost ethereal in presence, standing resolute in the corner. He bore the unmistakable mark of a demon slayer, an aura of raw power tempered by courage. In his grasp, he held a tome, pages worn and inked with symbols that pulsed with a life of their own.
With a voice that commanded authority, he spoke a series of incantations, weaving a spell that drew upon the ancient forces of the earth. An otherworldly creature materialized beside him, a magnificent flame horse, its form 2 heads intertwined in a dance of flickering fire, each flank adorned with ethereal flames that crackled with energy. The air shimmered around it, charged with an intensity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. As the demon snarled in frustration, desperate to escape the confinement that began to encase it, our hope ignited anew. The young man cast a protective barrier, trapping the beast in an impenetrable field of shimmering armor. "Leave me out of here," the demon roared, its voice a tempest of rage and desperation. But the boy remained unyielding, commanding his spirit with a fierce determination that radiated through the chamber. The flames of the horse surged, intertwining with its master, until the two became one, a maelstrom of red fire and obsidian smoke swirling in an intricate dance of destruction. The energy coalesced, an inferno intent on devouring the demon whole. As the blazing tempest enveloped the creature, its cries were soon silenced, consumed by the very darkness it sought to unleash. When silence finally descended upon us, the aftermath of the confrontation lay palpable in the air. We approached the young man cautiously, our hearts still racing from the thrill of the battle. The horse, now embodying the fierce spirit of its master, snorted and pawed at the ground, instinctively protective. But at a gentle command, the boy impressed a calm upon his steed, and a smile broke through the tension on his face. "Easy, Blaze," he said softly, drawing near as we cautiously stepped forward. The flaming horse relaxed, its fiery demeanor dampening before our eyes. We gathered around the demon slayer, awe evident in our expressions, for in him we had witnessed a confrontation that could have engulfed us all. With the specter of death now vanquished, we were buoyed by the promise of hope and strength. For in that moment, under the flickering lights of his steed and the remnants of ash swirling away into oblivion, we knew we had met a guardian in a battle that would resonate for ages to come. The sunset cast a warm glow over the dense forests surrounding them, the air thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Jiro stood at the forefront of the group, resolute and poised, a silhouette against the cascading hues of orange and violet. His presence commanded attention. He was no ordinary boy. The burdens of expectation laced each word he spoke, and the weight of every maternal gaze bore down on him. "You kids should know that demons like this one," he gestured toward the ethereal shape shifting restlessly by his side, a magnificent demon horse with deep obsidian fur and fiery eyes that flickered like hot embers, "must be tamed differently than others. Strong spellcasters have the power to control these types of demons, preventing them from going on a rampage in the real world." The seriousness of his tone underlined the gravity of his task. He was the second-born of his family, marked as the chosen heir, a title heavy with promise and responsibility. His fingers brushed across the worn pages of countless tomes he had studied under the flickering light of late-night candles, his mind brimming with ancient lore and strategies. The shadows clung to him like a shroud, but he wore them with pride. He had come to guide these young souls to Nezukarasuyama, a place whispered about in legends, where power twisted and turned like the roots of an ancient tree. A question pierced the moment's air, disrupting the reverence. Kazu, a boy with wild hair and a spirit bound to mischief, approached Jiro, his brow furrowed. He cradled his own spirit, a small creature reminiscent of a fox, over his shoulder. "Hey Jiro," he said, curiosity glowing in his eyes, "can you please explain something to us? How come you get a different spirit animal than all the rest of us? I only thought that spirits are only given to those with level 5 and up power, higher and greater than our powers put together. I was just wondering how on earth a demon horse is under your command all of a sudden." The group halted, a collective breath held as they sank to the forest floor, their attention anchored on Jiro. The serenity of the woods seemed to pause in anticipation of his answer, the soft rustle of leaves a reminder of the mysteries they sought to unravel. Jiro regarded Kazu with a measured gaze, his lips curling into a somber smile that hinted at the depths of his experience. Power is not simply measured in levels of strength. It is an intricate tapestry, woven from the threads of intent, understanding, and choices. A demon horse like this one does not bow to mere strength alone, it listens to the echo of the heart. Taming it requires both mastery and empathy, an understanding of its desires as much as one's own. With a voice that commanded authority, he spoke a series of incantations, weaving a spell that drew upon the ancient forces of the earth. An otherworldly creature materialized beside him, a magnificent flame horse, its form 2 heads intertwined in a dance of flickering fire, each flank adorned with ethereal flames that crackled with energy. The air shimmered around it, charged with an intensity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. As the demon snarled in frustration, desperate to escape the confinement that began to encase it, our hope ignited anew. The young man cast a protective barrier, trapping the beast in an impenetrable field of shimmering armor. "Leave me out of here," the demon roared, its voice a tempest of rage and desperation. But the boy remained unyielding, commanding his spirit with a fierce determination that radiated through the chamber. The flames of the horse surged, intertwining with its master, until the two became one, a maelstrom of red fire and obsidian smoke swirling in an intricate dance of destruction. The energy coalesced, an inferno intent on devouring the demon whole. As the blazing tempest enveloped the creature, its cries were soon silenced, consumed by the very darkness it sought to unleash.